Respect, redefined. 5 ways boomer parenting beliefs are actually about control and how to break free for better relationships. Respect has long been a cornerstone of parenting, especially among baby boomers. But what if some of the principles they see as respect are in fact rooted in control? It's important to understand how these well-intentioned values can sometimes lead to unhealthy dynamics in the parent-child relationship. This deeper exploration of the hidden control behind traditional parenting can help reshape how we think about respect, not just as a societal norm, but as a value that can foster true connection between generations. By reassessing what respect really means, we can open the door to more honest, supportive, and empathetic relationships. So let's break down some of the classic things baby boomer parents might call respect, but that, when examined closely, may be more about control and why it's time for a shift. 1. Respecting authority versus questioning authority. The need for critical thinking. When baby boomer parents stress the importance of respecting authority, it's often grounded in the belief that deferring to elders or figures of power is a vital part of discipline. Respecting authority, in this context, is often about submission rather than engaging in a dialogue or asking questions. This view is rooted in the idea that children should follow rules without question, viewing authority figures as infallible, whether in the home, at school, or even in society at large. However, this traditional model can stifle critical thinking. Children may grow up believing that following the rules is the highest form of respect, even when those rules may no longer make sense in their own lives. In these circumstances, respect is measured by compliance, not understanding or mutual consideration. Insight. True respect goes beyond blind obedience. It's about fostering open communication where children are encouraged to ask questions, voice their opinions, and engage with the world around them critically. When children are given the space to question authority in a healthy way, they learn that respect is not just about submission, but understanding and dialogue. By nurturing curiosity and thoughtful discussions, parents help children build a more profound respect for others and themselves. 2. Obeying without understanding versus empathetic guidance. Why explanation matters. For many boomer parents, the expectation is that children should simply obey the rules without needing to understand the reasoning behind them. This can be seen as a way to maintain order in the household. For example, phrases like, "Because I said so," were often used to shut down any further discussion. While this method may lead to short-term compliance, it does little to foster long-term respect or understanding. Children who are only taught to follow instructions without comprehension may struggle to understand the values behind the rules. Moreover, this creates a situation where obedience is enforced through power rather than earned through mutual understanding. It's a top-down dynamic that risks eroding the child's autonomy and sense of self. Insight. Respect is built on understanding. Parents who take the time to explain the reasons behind rules are teaching their children not just what to do, but why it matters. Empathy goes a long way in this process. By explaining your perspective and encouraging questions, parents can create a more collaborative environment where children understand the why behind decisions. This not only promotes deeper respect, but also helps children develop their ability to think critically and make informed decisions. 3. Sacrificing for the family versus resentment and burnout. The hidden cost of selflessness. In many boomer families, the idea of sacrificing personal time, energy, and desires for the good of the family was considered noble. Parents often worked long hours, neglected their own needs, and placed their children's needs above all else in the name of doing what's best. While sacrifice and moderation can be an admirable quality, an overemphasis on selflessness can lead to burnout and resentment. Sacrificing one's own well-being constantly, whether emotionally, physically, or mentally, eventually becomes unsustainable. Parents may feel like martyrs, and children may begin to view them as self-sacrificial figures rather than active, balanced participants in family life. The risk is that children grow up seeing these sacrifices as a burden or a means of control. As a result, children may feel guilty for wanting to live for themselves or for challenging their parents' expectations. Insight. True respect for oneself is foundational to a healthy family dynamic. When parents take care of their own needs, emotionally, mentally, and physically, they model healthy boundaries for their children. By showing children that self-care and personal fulfillment are essential, parents encourage a more balanced, respectful dynamic where each individual's needs are recognized and respected. A family unit thrives when all members feel supported, not just when one person is always giving while the others take. 4. Hard work equals value versus diminishing emotional needs when achievement becomes the only measure of worth. For many baby boomer parents, there was a strong emphasis on the value of hard work. The idea was that success, through effort, discipline, and perseverance, was the ultimate measure of worth. This led many children to internalize the notion that their value was tied to their achievements. While hard work is undeniably important, this view doesn't always allow room for emotional validation or personal growth outside of accomplishments. Children raised in this environment may feel like their worth is contingent on performance. If they don't excel in school, sports, or other endeavors, they may feel less than worthy or like they've failed their parents. This can create a stressful environment where emotional support takes a backseat to achievement. And as a result, the child's emotional well-being and sense of identity can suffer. Insight: true respect involves recognizing that each person's worth extends beyond their accomplishments. Parents should place value on their children's emotional needs, just as much as their academic or professional ones. Encouraging children to pursue their passions for the sake of growth and personal fulfillment, not just for external validation, fosters an environment of mutual respect where all emotions and achievements are valued. 5. No room for error versus supporting growth and learning. Mistakes are part of life. In many boomer households, mistakes were seen as failures, something to be avoided at all costs. Children who made mistakes might have faced criticism or punishment, and the emphasis was often placed on getting things right rather than learning from the experience. While striving for excellence is important, this rigid view of mistakes can hinder emotional and intellectual growth. The problem with this mindset is that it doesn't allow for failure as a natural part of the learning process. Children who are afraid of making mistakes are less likely to take risks or embrace new challenges. Instead of becoming more resilient, they may become fearful of trying something new, believing that making mistakes is a sign of failure rather than an opportunity for growth. Insight: mistakes are one of the most valuable tools for learning. Rather than punishing mistakes, parents should support their children through them, framing them as opportunities for growth. A culture that encourages risk-taking, problem-solving, and self-compassion helps children build resilience and confidence. By showing children that mistakes don't define them, but rather shape their ability to learn and grow, parents create an environment of respect based on mutual trust, understanding, and encouragement. Conclusion: rethinking respect for healthier, stronger relationships. For baby boomer parents, the definition of respect has often been tied to control. But as we navigate modern parenting, it's clear that true respect is not about enforcing blind obedience or sacrificing personal well-being for the sake of the family. It's about fostering open communication, empathy, and a balanced sense of self-worth. By rethinking what respect truly means, parents can create a more harmonious family dynamic, one built on mutual understanding, emotional support, and growth. Shifting away from outdated views of respect can lead to healthier, more fulfilling relationships where both parents and children feel valued, heard, and empowered. True respect is about collaboration, not control, and it's time we all embrace this evolution for the benefit of our families.